Peace FM 104.3. Who to me take?
Menye the only, and I think I have to be very careful what I say, authority on issues dealing with June 4th. There are many others out there who also know a lot of things. And then the short topic now is about the 40th anniversary. You see, memorial, yes, sir. I just say some memorial service be costunya, sir. Me person me one clarity, and I'm being honest with you because my busy doing some few other things. Is this the state that is organizing this?
No.
Or is the military or what?
The families of...
the families?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. They are entitled to do that. Yes, they are right. Loss of life in any circumstances, especially so in the circumstances of June 4th. Here we are talking of execution by firing squad. Regrettable. Families, you know, any close friends, the pain will be there. If you be crampo, can suffer pain, and the pain can be very lasting. Nibia na what the same capability or capacity to endure pain. And this is a very sensitive, delicate, and sentimental matter. Me nimpa, and then the families is your memorial service to remember fathers, uncles, brothers, and what. In Sinaya, very difficult for me to, say everything the way I want to say it, because my person may respect the sentiments of the bereaved families. But I will also be a bit dishonest if I come and sit here and pour out sentimentalism, especially when I'm clear in my mind, say sentiment and a substitute for science when it comes to politics and history. I'm going to walk a tightrope, deliberate, and make sure so I can say what I want to say without unduly hurting the feelings of families and friends of those who are being mourned today or being remembered today. Sampai referred to President Kufuor's project, the National Reconciliation Commission. Yes, President Kufuor, a very wise leader at that time in Ghana's history. Of course, and the MPP4 manifesto pledge, I think almost all the parties, with the exception of the NDC, I may be wrong, but if there's any NDC person listener, Onim say also pledges they can correct me. But Minim say almost all the political parties in opposition had made that a pledge. Even more so the MPP. In the MPP4 bar office in 2001, President Kufuor decided to operationalize that manifesto pledge, and in the NRC project by. But before then, Minim Saman for President Kufuor's administration took some initiative. The remains of the generals that had been buried in unmarked graves the state located. Fortunately, those were not hidden, they were known, but they were unmarked. Will retrieve remains in Sobakaya. They were daily graphic. December 28th, 2001, we have front page now. Fitting rest at last for 8 top military officers after 22 years in unmarked graves. President Kufuor, as part and parcel of a healing process, Mao retrieved these remains the respective families, and the families proceeded to bury them. Indeed, the state sponsored and backed that process. It's really NRC Act no so into force. I'm saying 2002. Now you may go through that process, meaning you be more criticizing Nyama, but still no, it went on, and at the end of the day, NRC force submitted a report to the president, and for that matter, the Kufuor administration. Government issued white paper on that report. With a copy of the white paper here, signed by Ayikutu, Attorney General and Minister of Justice at that point in time, on a Noye Attorney General. And government accepted quite a lot of the recommendations. Let me read the kakra and some my proceeding in the further. Paragraph 5 is recommendations of the commission. 5.1 was the government accepts the general recommendations made by the commission on the Ghana Armed Forces, the police service, and the prison service. Accordingly, it directs the councils of these institutions to study recommendations carefully with a view to their implementation. Government is convinced that the best way to prevent the misuse of these forces, as documented by the Commission, is to ensure transparency, fairness, and the highest level of professionalism in the recruitment, training, and deployment of these forces. Further, the training should make the men and women who comprise these forces sensitive to the values of human rights and the challenges in their relations with civilians. Reparations need be here. Government paragraph 6.1. Also, government has recommended the commission rather has recommended the setting up of a reparation and rehabilitation fund. Government accepts this recommendation wholeheartedly. Urgent steps are being taken by government to establish the fund, to resource it, and to provide the modalities for its effective deployment as an important healing tool for Ghana. Again, recommendations may pick it the one of relevance to the topic I discuss. Okay. Oko National Reconciliation Commission recommendations are page 172. Monuments and commemorative events. Or see, a national monument in Accra in honor of the killed, disappeared, in brackets, all those who lost their lives as a result of human rights violation, and to the unknown victim of human rights abuse during the Commission's mandate period. On the monument should be engraved the names of the victims who fall in this category, such as the generals, the 3 High Court judges, and retired army officer, those executed after sham trials, fraught with severe torture, and serious procedural irregularities, and unknown victims. A lot of them, but where is of the relevance. Of course, there was also the point of institutional reforms of the security services. So, what did we do with these recommendations? What have we done since 2004? Our recommendations were made and accepted by government in context of the white paper. I'm not sure. So we've done much. In fact, me who monument be capture the names of the generals, the 3 High Court judges, except my judicial from Nankasa you see the Supreme Court, and the retired army officer, and all those who were executed after, as the commission put it, sham trials. And so just say there is some work to be done in respect of that healing process now. National Reconciliation Commission recommend here. Say yes, me all sorts of analysis and things in check. I will terminate my submission at this point. In order, as I said, not to reopen old wounds and to hurt feelings of bereaved or grieving families. But I think it would be also unfair on my part relative to history, factual recollection of history, if me betraha and play the ostrich, which is not in my character, and especially when it comes to these things. Yeah, my brother. By June 4th, 1979, me na kabe 1 month 3 days, I made it 25 years. Na kabe 1 month 3 days to July 7th, which is my birthday. I would have been 25 years on the dot then. Before that, my brother, from 1974, BC 79, I was one of those key activists in the streets of Accra and elsewhere, protesting military rule and asking the soldiers to go back to barracks where they belong. I wasn't alone. Some are dead, but many are alive. And I'm sure they are listening. And we were not just in the streets saying, there were reasons why we were in the streets of Ghana. And protesting and agitating for the disengagement of the military from national politics. Apart from the economic mess, the corruption, the human rights violation, the army, for that matter, the armed forces, had no business, earthly business, to be in national civil politics. They had no business, and they knew it. The Armed Forces Act 62. Chira will say, so they need, so person wear politics, then you uniform. Become a civilian, which you originally are, and come and compete for civil power. Responsibility, what Amma want to say, you are in possession of the instruments of violence. You'll be called upon by civil authority to for your engagement in helping either for national security or combating external aggression. That is your vow. That's your business. And we'll pay you for that and give you the instruments of violence. And they say, Kita, you train you for that. But somewhere along the line, these soldiers, they thought that, they can be messiahs, liberators, revolutionaries. They can cure the mischief that they see civilians representing, real or perceived, or both. So they selected themselves to become redeemers and liberators. By the time of June 4th, what we had was not a mere military junta. We had an armed forces government, the highest level of military intervention in civil politics. Be a member of the Supreme Military Council, whether one or two, by virtue of the service appointment.
Okay.
That's where we had reached by 1979, June 4th. And they had messed up the society. They had messed up the body politic. They had messed up the economy. They had corrupted the institution of the armed forces and everything you can look at. That's the fact. Nobody's going to be able to negotiate that one away of our memory. Thank God, I have a very retentive memory. More than that of the elephant. Perhaps that of the whale. Before I proceed further, SMC2, when it took over, Achampo, Akufu Palace, what kind of idea was Achampo? They stripped him of his military rank, made him a master, exiled him to his village, But they passed a decree to tell Ghanaians why they were doing what they were doing. Patrol, you see, this is what I see. It's a difficult exercise. It's robuka or easy. Net radio, net TV, net casa. And I'm going through a certain challenge internally as I speak. The SMC2 of General Kufu charges will lay against accountability captured in the Armed Forces Miscellaneous Provisions Decree 1979. 1. Personally interfering in the economic and financial management of the economy of the country. 2. Interfering with the normal operations of the Bank of Ghana, thus causing the overprinting and overissue of CD notes. 3. Indiscriminatory, personal and arbitrary issue of import licenses to favorites and close associates and awarding contracts to incompetent contractors.
Wow.
4. Taking dubious foreign loans to the detriment of the state. 5. Personally granting undeserved concessions to favorite business houses in contravention of the existing government policies and regulations. 6. In furtherance of his inordinate ambition for political power, he manipulated and vested all executive powers in his own hands for his own advantage. 7. He disregarded with impunity the principle of collective responsibility of colleagues in the SMC and NRC. 8. He reversed decisions in the name of the NRC and SMC without prior consultation with any of his colleagues. 8. He employed at the state's expense the services of numerous unofficial personal advisors and aides of dubious competence, character, and intentions, who only saw to their good in government to the detriment of the nation. 9. He brought the armed forces to the brink of disintegration. His own colleagues. 11. He showered generous favors on certain officers and men need to be closely associated with him to the disadvantage and annoyance of other officers of merit and the rank and file, thus contributing to the breakdown of discipline in the armed forces. The last point, he displayed immorality not befitting an officer and a gentleman and much less a head of state. Sometimes, who can be about Wasimba? Yes, sir. And yeah, fries for the kind. A SMC2. None of colleagues who put that in the public domain. Achampon had his chance. He's there to reply them. On June 4th, CN, I was Shannon. Significantly, and I know why that happened, but I won't say it now. He was given the opportunity to address the media.
After Mochino?
Yeah, Mochino. He was given the opportunity. I think it was June 5th or June 6th. No, June 13th, 1979, was Flagstaff House, now Jubilee House. You know, it was the Armed Forces headquarters. Yeah. No, should take advantage. The whole no can say, wow, it is a Jesus can say, wow. First two. Timokai. First of all, say I have no regrets for staging the 1972 coup, which toppled Dr. Busia's government. And looking back at my reign as Ghana's head of state from January 13, 1972 to July 5, 1978, when General Kufu and others removed me from office, I feel I have done enough for Ghana. I can't claim to be infallible. Perhaps my only fault was that I was too lenient and kind. I helped people like J.H. Mensah, Apia Menka, and Dr. Belson to make money, even though I was aware they were my political enemies. General Kufu and others have accused me of running the government as one-man show. They are liars, and that accusation against me is baseless because every action taken during my tenure of office was a collective one. My overthrow from office was motivated by personal interest of other SMC members. At that time, General Kufu and Major General Udate Wellington and others removed me from office. At the time, General Kufu and Major General Udate Wellington and others removed me from office. I was contemplating dismissing some of them for their involvement in corrupt deals.
Wow.
General Kufu decided to remove me from office because he knew he was going to lose his membership of the SMC in October 78. 5 days before I was removed from office, I wrote a letter to all soldiers to ponder over the charges of malpractices such as smuggling, hoarding, and profiteering, in which some of them and their families had become so much involved. On July 5th, 1978, when some SMC members asked me to resign, I pointed out to them that it was not me as an individual that Ghanaians did not want. I told General Fred Akufu that they were looking for all of us. I warned General Akufu that he would regret his action and that he was going to create more confusion. My removal was not endorsed by all the SMC members. Mami, after serving in the army for 27 years, it is not right and proper for General Kufu and his SMC2 membership to strip me of my military title of general. I should have been put before a court-martial to defend myself against whatever charges they had against me. When I was head of state, I was honest. I was not corrupt. Rather, General Kufu and others were not honest. It is not true that I have huge sums of cedis and foreign money or immovable property in any foreign country. It is also not true that when I was head of state, I printed millions of cedis and I challenged the governor of the Bank of Ghana to come out with the facts, if he had any, to establish my guilt. All these are the work of General Kufu and my enemies, who want to bring me down. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah suffered the same fate, and I'm not surprised that it's happening to me. But the case is that Ghanaians have very short memory. Edosu.
He was the first person to see this.
Short memory, no bad.
Theo, I had
Sampai in the book.
See, it is not true that I bought golf cars for my numerous girlfriends. Okay, golf. It is not true that I bought golf cars for my numerous girlfriends. I don't deny that I had girlfriends. All of us have girlfriends. Even you. He was pointing to the media. Even you. Which of you flirt with only your wives? We all do it. And to me, I don't see how girlfriends contributed to the reign of Ghana's economy. No one can claim to be a paragon of virtue. We all do it. People say that, no, maybe I shouldn't mention this. It's mentioning a lady's name. Though I'm not sure she's alive. But, say, so, June 4th, before I exploded,
Why are you excited?
before I exploded, there was a mess out there. I have Professor Dubois' lecture here. I have Professor Michael Kwei's book here. At the appropriate time, I'll read portions for you. Here, what's the name? Radical, angry, militant. Didn't give a damn about anybody out there. Let the blood flow. We're shouting. I was one of them. True. Mankamebwa. Professor Michael Kwei. This book, I think he wrote it it's after the handing over.
Okay.
Or your analysis. Positive, negative, maybe critical, constructive. We will say, when we add the pluses and subtract the minuses, only the devil can say that these sons of Ghana did not do a good job for their motherland.
Sure.
And save the image of the military, considering all the circumstances, the extent of the rot, and the time available to them. Professor Idubuahini, they were far older than us. We were the radicals, the young militants, who didn't give a damn about anybody out there. But these were matured minds, historians and political science lecturers. You see, not only was June 4th absolutely necessary and justifiable, but it was also most opportune. It was necessary and opportune because the society, especially the upper crust in general, and the armed forces in particular, urgently required that house cleaning exercise prior to the return to civilian rule. It is obvious that if the pent-up fury of the other ranks had not been given vent, even more bloody and chaotic conditions would have immediately followed the return to civilian rule. In this respect, June 4th was indeed a vital prerequisite for a successful return to civilian rule. Secondly, the coup did not in any way alter the arrangements that had been made for the return to civilian rule. If anything, it rather accelerated the process by shortening the program by 7 good days. And it was justifiable because it was not against a civilian, but another military regime that did not have the mandate of the people to be there in the first place. Nor did it infringe or abrogate any constitution that was in existence. Above all, it did set its very limited objectives, pursued them with military and revolutionary zeal, and handed over. Indeed, June 4th did set a precedent which it was hoped would be followed subsequently. Now, see, this is where my problem with 31st comes in. They betrayed us. June 4th was murdered by 31st December intervention. But, honestly, what were also, June 4th was not all, it was a bit rosy. People like us are supporting June 4th. As far back as 1979, post the handing over, we conceded publicly, said, the conduct of operations of the AFIC in that 3-month period were problematic. There were areas. Okay? June 4th was an insurrection. It wasn't an ordinary coup d'etat.
Okay.
More or less a counter coup, but it was an insurrection. The Ghana Armed Forces was turned upside down. In that meeting, I've been hearing some senior officers, retired, who are talking plenty about what happened and what they did, and many of them ran into under their beds. Many of them ran into Achumata Forest. Many of them, the bold ones, the courageous one, would Odate Wellington them. And see, let me be honest. Odate Wellington was killed in action, not executed. Yeah. In army tradition, it is different. He was given appropriate burial. Yeah. But he was an honest soldier. There's no doubt about that. Only General Hamidu were brought into the SMC2 to clean up their image. And then a man was on space. And if the SMC2 had done things properly, perhaps June 4th may never have happened. And Professor Kwe and Edubuahi say it here. If they had done the right things, see, this is Edubuahi. Or see, had Akufu and the reconstituted SMC heeded these suggestions that had been made by the civil society, NUCS, Professional Bodies Association, Ghana Bar Association, so many things, including the exposure trial of Achampon for the so-called crimes now, one more legend, rather than stripping him of his generalship. Also, had Akufu and the reconstituted SMC heeded these suggestions and implemented them immediately, his regime would most probably have lasted. But they did not. They did not only refuse to try a champion his roguish associates, this is a good one, and he was saying this 1988. But they also failed to check the corruption, economic mismanagement, daylight looting of the state coffers, the ostentatious living, and the kalabule that were going on. Nor did they deal with the indiscipline and corruption in the army. SNC2, in fact, turned out to be, as someone put it, the same thing different as SMC1. This is Professor Goodbye. My friend Anka, because he was my father's very close friend. No, Bifia, my name is Seven. Of course, I subsequently worked with him in politics and things.
No wonder.
But not as a co-equal, as a senior to me. But this is not the mind of that young, militant, radical Kweku Baako, who was shouting, let the blood flow. But as I said, there were problems. And some of us by 1979 had considered. For instance, here we can say trial process. If you raise the issue of trial, the mode of trial before execution, you have a legitimate case to make, especially with the benefit of hindsight. But the army had been turned outside down. Only the army law, court martial, so we'll try at least the one heading the commission, court martial, or a member of the marshal must be of the same rank with the people you are trying.
Yeah.
It's military law. But these boys, these young guys, they had turned the armed forces upside down. All the generals had run.
Okay.
One or two were later rescued and brought in as liaison officers in Nyama. But so in actual fact, they could not even have adopted the conventional military trial process. It wasn't possible. And they had 3 months. If they were going to last 1 year, 2 years, you say, okay, now you can stabilize the situation and get the proper military court martial process going. They couldn't. Neither could they send them to the civilian courts. There you know, out. Yeah. And indeed, the anger was such that something had to happen. Yeah, I'm holding it. This is the very original. It's a handwritten they want. And they were. This was a list.
Handwriting.
Oh, it's not fair. If you read my book, you see it.
Kweku, is the book out finally?
Soon. And they come in and I say my bit.
How soon is your soon, Kweku? How soon is your soon?
This is the list. 247 Ghanaians. Soldiers, policemen, businessmen, market women, lawyers, judges. The name was presented for execution. This is the list. I can tell you what went through before this list was not operationalized and implemented. And so the 40 BTI won't kind that there was a Deba. I think it was an Arakan barracks. And this list was brought up. The person who brought it up was a captain, Wewu. And to diffuse the tension, it was thrust on him. Nobody knew he brought it, but those he sent to knew he brought it. So they thrust it on him and said, come, justify this list. He couldn't justify it. But there was so much anger. Look, Nkofo see firing squad stakes, son of a
stakes
across the region. Maybe people have forgotten. Across the regions, not just Accra. Now it had to take some serious anger management to make this list not the list for the council to deal with. Serious anger management. Today is easy. You're a historian, you are talking about it. It's very easy. But the moment was no joke. Eventually, it came to the aid. I admit, with the benefit of hindsight, it hurts the kind of trial process they went through. Wasn't a trial, if you like. I agree. NRC looked at all these things. Some of these things came up at the NRC. And President Kufuor's philosophy was that it will help to take away the pain and the tensions. But I realized that there are still some people who are hurt, who are pained. I understand. They are entitled to the pain and the anger, however long it lasts. But I want to ask them, and it's a hard question, did these soldiers have any business being where they were? Okay, General Afrifa letter. We were copy. Okay, letter. He wrote to a Champon, but a Champon leaked it.
Oh, Shivani, stop it.
A Champon leaked the letter. Afrifa was asking a Champon, I said, don't you see that they were endangering us, all of us, from 66 to 72 cool? General Ankra, myself, Afrifa, all of the rest, you are putting us at a risk. And that wati say one fine day, some elements in the CPP and army will combine, organize a certain insurrection, and then pick them one by one for execution. Very prophetic. Why was General Afrifa afraid? And so he said he was going to Parliament as a way of protecting himself because he couldn't trust a Champon's union government, all those things now, transitional, Corinthian report in Rex. You know, Afifa was a very intelligent man.
Very sharp man.
Very intelligent. Make no mistake.
Movement for freedom and justice.
Yes, apart from that, the school from school. Very intelligent. And he knew the law. And he knew. Look, however noble what they say, however noble their intentions were, I think they were dishonorable. But that's political judgment I'm making. There are those who think what they did was noble for their 1966 coup d'etat. He knew that regardless of how noble, and I put it in quotes, he had committed a crime. High treason, punishable by death in the face of the law. Criminal Code 1960, Armed Forces Act 1962, the Constitution you are overthrowing. All these three put you at risk and you become a running illegality. And you see, by the time he was being pegged, the transitional provisions that were to protect him, to indemnify him, were not there. They were not in existence. So they were naked, sitting ducks, targetable. And the boys went for them. Look, the very moment the army intervened in politics, they sowed the seeds of a counter coup. After Yabua tried, they failed. June 4th, May 15, Rawlings tried, he failed. June 4th, things had built up. It was an insurrection. It was impossible for it to fail. Post June 4th, the question was, how do you manage this fouling situation, diffuse the tension, and repackage and get the army out of the scene? That was the mission. And with all the challenges, it was done. But we all knew there was trouble. And we knew Rawlings was going to be the problem. Because no tasty at them, and there were guys be surrounding him who had plotted coups for years and not succeeded.
Okay.
Yes. And they saw Rawlings as a shortcut to achieve their ambitions, and they did. They refused to subject themselves to the discipline required of them by the Constitution of the Third Republic. And in the process, committed high treason and overthrew the elected government of Dr. Liman. That's where my departure with Rawlings is personal. They murdered June 4th. They took away June 4th's validity and clarity. I'm telling you, it's sincere. I'm being honest with you. And that is an irreconcilable stand I have on Mr. Rawlings, and for that matter, 31st December coup d'etat, and the byproduct of it, which is the NDC, incidentally. These are hard facts. Well, I thought I could seek way solid in President Kufuor's NRC, and there are outstanding recommendations here implemented. Maybe we should go back, take a look at the NRC recommendations and see how, because government is government, on your administrations in the year. The Ghanaian government is still the Ghanaian government, and commit itself to the recommendations here and see if we can take away some of the pain of the families from 1966 to now. General Bawa was killed in action. It's not execution. But his family, I'm sure, are pained. There were guys at the Flagstaff house who were lined up and shot when the soldiers took over. They shot them. There were daughters and wives of ministers and district chief executives who were raped. Yeah. By soldiers. Post-66 coup. They had no business being in politics. But they did. The truth was a calling. They wanted to liberate Ghana from the tyranny of Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. And so they did, and they were proclaimed as heroes. Well, one died, he was killed in action. We gave him honorary military burial, and we put his statue at the Kotoka International Airport, where we named it after him. That's what we did. We set up a trust. We set up a trust fund and used the money to build hospitals here and there. There are still people who advocate for them. But those things we can live with. As long as you are committed to this constitutional dispensation and ensure it's our constitution already. It was also in the 79 constitution, except say it has been expanded and improved under this 92 constitution. So say be a kunde. Those of us who are against it are entitled to rise up and use any means, peaceful and violent, to get them out. The additional that can say you succeed, what you fail, no what you do, no what you be say eventually you return it back to return it to constitutional rule. You are compensated. Reparations should be paid. NRC, people are Kwame Pieni, their names, Mauli Goka and the rest, they praise them for their attempts to remove the PMDC illegality. They're there, it's in the report. And the government, the commission said, and government agreed, said report and circulating in all schools, in their libraries. Have we done that?
No.
Yeah. So the healing process now, President Kufuor unleashed with good mind. I think that's a nation, like we've done in many respects, we've gone to sleep on the report. So those who are hurt and are pained, the pain is still there. Holy Memorial Service, I have no problem with it, even if for 100 years, I cannot sit here and say it's wrong. But when we are telling the story, and the story is told in a distorted manner, some of us who lived then, lived the moments of that period, will not let people just come and have big stories and distorted stories. It won't happen. It would never ever happen. The positives and the minuses, pluses and minuses, like Professor Kwe put it, should all be brought together to the fore. We dispassionately interrogate those issues. Lasting lesson: let no soldier ever dream of disrupting this constitution. There are ways and means of reforming the constitution and moving Ghana forward. The very moment you take the arms to overthrow the constitution, look, you are running illegality, and you will never sleep soundly, like Afrifa never did. I rest my case.
Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet you.